It's the Bedtime Podcast. Hey guys, it's us, Syd and Noah, and
we're back.
We've been away for 2 weeks.
We've been on a grief vacation.
And in the meantime, we have upgraded some of our equipment if you're watching on video, but...
Because what is better to do while you're grieving than shop for electronics?
For electronics, yeah. So if you follow us online, you might have found out that recurring guest of the podcast,
mascot of the pod,
overall
best friend,
our daughter,
Red you were gonna say her name? Red Steinberg Finling.
Yeah,
Red Steinberg Finling passed away about a week ago.
Yeah, and it has taken us. Let's be real. It has really taken us about 10 days.
Yeah, up until now to kind of be able to talk about it without crying.
Yeah, to talk about it. And I really wanted, now that we've opened this door to recording personal aspects of our life, it's really important that we also don't forget that, we are human beings and we need to grieve through this situation. Not everything is content.
Yeah.
And I am proud of us for checking in, because we actually had a false start. We were going to record 3 days after.
And we were like, absolutely not.
And we were like, there is no way. We want to talk about it with you guys, but we don't want to bum you out.
Well, and we have to protect ourselves too, because that just sounds miserable.
Yeah.
And then we were going to do it a couple days after that, but we were still too sad. And
I'm really proud of us for just taking that time. I'm also proud of myself for, not that I would have made you record, because that would be crazy, but I just feel like I've been good through this time, letting myself grieve and not being so I need to do stuff. I need to be productive.
We're proud of Noah. He's made a lot of progress in the workaholism. He's let himself be sad. He's let himself grieve. He didn't make himself get right back to work. We're both taking sips of our hop water, which is Noah's new obsession. He just goes and gets a box every day from Trader Joe's,
which we will get into kind of our tricks of what's been keeping us going. And this is, I forgot, this Lagunitas Brewing Co. Hoppy Refresher at Trader Joe's is
number one for Noah.
It's number one, and I think it's really been good for me to grieve with, because I don't know. I don't think I'm the griever who drinks, but perhaps I might be. Regardless, this is keeping me from drinking, because this is the only thing I crave.
It's delicious, and it helps me too, because I really miss a cool beer, or a glass of wine, something. I'm so annoyed I got sober before the espresso martini train took off, because I never had one. And so any kind of mocktail, or what is this called? Hop water, helps me.
Yeah, it's a hop water. So it kind of tastes like beer, but it also kind of tastes like seltzer. So it's this beautiful blend of magic.
Anyway, we're being disgusting, shilling out hop water while we're grieving our dog on the podcast. So we actually are not sponsored by anyone. We just genuinely like it.
We just genuinely like this.
It's genuinely helping us. So I think that's why it's not so gross, and it's cheap. How much is it?
It's $8.99 for 6.
I guess that's not that cheap.
I don't think it's that cheap.
No.
Right? It's
for
6,
some reason,
right?
I thought it was cheaper.
Is it 12?
I don't know. I don't think it's 12. Never mind. It's
6.
not that cheap. But I guess compared to beer, it's not that cheap.
It's as much as a beer.
That's what's so annoying with these fucking mocktails now. It's now I'm spending as much as actual drinkers, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing this for? Other than my own health.
Yeah. Anyways.
Anyway, back to Grief Town.
So we want to tell you about what happened, because I do think there's something to talking about it with people, so that I'm sure there's other people out there who have felt the loss of an animal.
Well, I think there's a couple camps of people wanting to know. One is they're scared it's gonna happen to them. Why did your 3-year-old dog die? And what can I do? It's almost like a stress instinct. What happened? So I can know.
Yeah, I've felt that from people.
I've felt that. from people with younger animals. And then obviously just like curiosity, which is normal. And
we're sick.
Yeah. But also, you want to know what happened.
Yeah, you as your friend, you're concerned with us, and I get it. I
also just want to get it out there because I am tired of having to talk about it. Like, we went to a barbecue the other night, and everyone, purest of hearts, asked us what happened. And I think I had to tell the story maybe 6 times.
Yeah.
And I'm getting tired of it.
Yeah, it's I in a lot of ways, I think this is a very healing thing to do because we're just getting it out there, and now we can move on. Isn't the right word, but
yeah, neither of us is really interested in moving on. I think
I don't want to move on because I don't want to forget my dog, but I do.
We need to heal.
Yeah, I want the wounds to start to heal and to scar.
Yeah, we're looking for some scar tissue, not some gushing open wounds.
But Syd, do you want to? I feel like you should be the one to tell them what happened because I think I'm going to be too detailed.
Yeah,
And I think the less detail, the better.
The better, yeah. Okay, so Red had a disease called ITP. A lot of dogs. 5% of dogs get it. So there are more dogs in the world with ITP than there are Jews, just for perspective. And then 80% of those dogs survive. So those odds I never liked. Like, if you told me I had cancer and 80% chance of survival, I would be like, oh, that's terrible.
But when I heard those odds, I was like, oh, she's going to be fine.
Yeah,
like,
he thought those were good. I thought they were bad odds.
I mean, that's 80%. That's so many people.
You mean dogs?
Dogs.
I don't think those are good odds, but I'm, I guess, negative.
It's interesting that we both had that sort of outlook, and that is kind of illuminating of our general life perspective.
Yeah.
That I tend to be a little more optimistic, and you aren't.
Yeah, I guess. I think I can be optimistic, but in that way, I can be. I'm more optimistic with like career stuff.
Yes,
but with illness odds, I just don't think those are good odds. Sound off in the comments. I'm glad I can still say that. So she'd been on steroids for the past couple months, and which got her red blood cell count up. So that's what the disease does. It attacks the red blood cells in their body, so they stop making them. It's autoimmune. So she was on steroids for a couple months, and it just totally wrecked her everything. She was really depressed and lethargic, and it just felt like we had a totally different dog, and it was awful. And
yeah,
there's a reason dogs can't be on those drugs for that long, because it fucks with everything about them, and you can't leave them on for too long because they'll get diabetes. So we were constantly having to try to wean her off of the drugs, but every time we tried, the red blood cell count would drop. So she wasn't responding to treatment. And so we were dropping them a couple weeks ago, and her red blood cell count dropped again, so she wasn't responding to treatment, so we had to get them back up again. And because we'd gotten them back up in the past, we weren't really worried, and we had a call with the vet like the morning before she died, and the vet was like, we kind of have to start talking about other options and like quality of life. And that was like hit me pretty hard, but he didn't think anything of it.
I mean,
he was very positive through all of this.
I mean, I think this is to the fact that this is my first dog.
Yeah.
And I just find animals to be so resilient.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like, how are we talking about quality of life about my 3-year-old dog?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess this is your first dog, and yeah, you think they're resilient, whereas I know the truth. They're not. Like, dogs die pretty easily. It's really fucked up. So I got really stressed out and upset, and but I didn't think we were anywhere near that. We were talking about like changing her diet, like making it like grain free, like so the inflammation goes down, blah blah blah, like all this shit. And then the next day, she was perky in the morning. Like I was leaving the house and Noah was coming out with Red to take her on a walk, and she was like excitedly like staring at me and like watching me go. And I was like, that's my best friend. Like, she doesn't want me to go. Like, it just was so normal, like run of the mill every day. And she looked so cute. And then I went to work and Noah went to a show. And then when I came home, she's normally very happy to see me. And she just came up to me with her head down and like let me pet her a little bit. But then she went into the bedroom and laid down while I was in the living room, which wasn't normal. And my friend Sally was over. God bless her. And then it was bedtime and Red went under the bed, which she'd been doing in the heat. So we didn't think anything of it. But then she came out to throw up, which again, dogs throw up. But she threw up a ton of blood, like her body weight in blood.
Yeah.
And then she went back under the bed, which normally when she throws up, she comes straight to me because she feels bad and she lets me, like, I comfort her. But she went straight under the bed and I immediately knew she was dying. But once again, Noah's never had a pet before. So when pets like know they're going to die basically, and they don't want you to see, so they hide. So we could not get her out from under the bed. We had to lift up the bed and grab her. And we took her to the emergency vet, and by the time we got her there, they were like, we need to take her back right away. She was breathing really awfully. And then the vet came in and was like, do you want us to resuscitate her if she goes into cardiac arrest? And we were like, what? Like, and my first thought was no, because I pretty much knew it was going to happen. And also I was very much thinking about what the doctor had said yesterday with quality of life, and Red hates the vet. She hated going. It made her so miserable, and if she wasn't responding to medication and there wasn't much of a choice anyway, I did not want to have to put my dog down. But we said yes. Noah said yes immediately. So
I think I just, I'm reflecting on that moment, and I just was like, yeah, of course. I just was like, yeah, of course you resuscitate her, but I guess in your head you were like, yeah, but what is she going to be if we have to bring her back to life?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of dog are we going to have? Is it going to be a dog who requires constant vet visits?
Yeah. Or just like, and with how miserable she was on steroids, it just was like,
I didn't, in that moment, I think I was just like, my dog's not going to die. She's fine. Like, yeah, of course resuscitate her and we'll bring her home. Like, I don't think I was thinking like that naively, and I really, I don't know. Even when she threw up and we took her to the vet, I just really did not think she was going to die. And I guess when we were driving up there, you in your head were thinking,
I thought she was going to die in the car.
You thought that?
Yeah.
What? I guess you didn't say anything to me because you were like, I don't want to, that's just like not what we need right now.
Yeah, I didn't think that would be helpful. I don't know what was going on, but I very much knew she was not going to make it.
I definitely felt like this was very serious because, we know with ITP,
It can be deadly. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really, in short, it's a lack of ability to clot and to stop yourself from bleeding.
Yeah.
You could bleed out very easily. So the fact that she was puking up blood
meant there was a bleed.
Yeah, there was something bad going on that hadn't happened before. So I definitely was aware that, the situation was bad. And I do feel lucky that I was attuned to that because there was a moment when we were driving up to the vet where Red was sitting in your lap and she got up on her front paws and she put them on my acceleration leg and she just started to stare at me. And I was, driving, but I was looking at her and I, when you have a pet, I feel like they do talk to you. And, I really feel like with Red, there were things that she could say to me that I'd be like, I know what you need right now. I know what you're saying. And I don't know in that moment what she was saying, but I knew she was saying something. And I just started to pet her neck and like tried to have a moment with her, but I really didn't know what she was saying. And now I'm thinking that she was saying goodbye because, you know, especially having heard you say that dogs know when they're going to die, that she was taking this moment to say goodbye because as soon as that ended, she went into the back seat.
Yeah.
She like climbed into the back seat.
Because she didn't want us to see her die.
She didn't want us to see her suffer, and I think she knew where she was going because, you know, we always took her to the vet when she wasn't feeling well. So she obviously had some idea of where she was going, and I think she was just scared and just didn't want to do that. And it just happened so quickly. I think that was such a shock. You know, I don't really know what the expectation is there. Like the doctor, like nobody can really prepare you for that. No one, it would be crazy for anyone to be like, hey, I think it's very likely your 3-year-old dog's going to die soon. So
well, she said she was going to give her an infusion. Otherwise, we were going to lose her. So we obviously said give her the infusion. And then she said the DNR thing. And then she came back in and she said she had gone into cardiac arrest. And did we want to resuscitate her? And we said, of course. And she went out. But I knew there was no way. And then she came back and was like, she's gone.
And that was just like,
I mean, I honestly feel bad for this lady. I was on the floor.
I know.
Sobbing.
I know. I really did feel bad for the vet because we just were both like
in really bad. And it was 2 a.m.
It was 2 a.m, and we were just like so.
I was like screaming.
You were screaming, and it was just like I really was thinking like, oh man, I feel so bad for this woman who has to witness this, but. And a part of me is like, oh, she sees that all the time. Vets see that all the time. But it's like, it doesn't matter. It can never be easy. Like, if we have any vets out there, please sound off in the comments. I would like to know. I mean, that can never, I mean, and it didn't seem easy. She was
sad.
She was very sad. She was emotive. And one thing I really like about the vet we had started taking her the last few months to treat this illness is they all knew Red.
Yeah.
She had been there so much. They all were very aware and up to date on her, on what was going on with her. So I did feel like she was in good hands, that we had her with the right care. And we you know, I think at first I had blamed myself a little bit, which I think is obviously normal.
Yeah, very normal.
Because that day she had moments, like you said, of seeming fine. Like she was barking at the dog next door. She, you know, ran out with you and like didn't, you know, wanted to like come with you. But then there were some moments where, you know, she was diarrheaing blood, which the vet had been aware of and told us that given her condition, that's normal. And if anything worsens from that, to bring her in. But, you know, nothing did. But I just had a feeling that day that something else was going on, and I was really beating myself up that maybe if I just had brought her earlier, maybe they would have been able to get her under control, and that was really hard to grapple with for the first few days.
But then, you know, this vet's great. She called us, and this vet was so great that the day Red died, we talked to her on the phone like before Red had passed, and she was at her dad's funeral, and she called us from her dad's funeral.
Yeah.
Like, this vet is incredible. And so she called us a few days after, and she sounded like she was gonna cry. Like she felt so bad for us, and you know, it was very comforting to talk to her because she said that Red not responding to the treatment meant there was definitely something bigger going on. Possibly lymphoma, because steroids are a treatment for lymphoma in dogs, so it would have masked like the other symptoms too. And so Red's days were unfortunately numbered, and even if she had survived this, she said there weren't many more transfusions she could have survived, and it just, you know.
Also just the fact that she had relapsed for the second time like this from the, you know, her blood cells dropped just meant that it was going to keep happening again.
Yeah.
And we were going to have a larger conversation, like she said, about the quality of her life. And
while everything that happened was so fucking traumatizing and horrible, I am grateful we didn't have to put her down. I don't think we could have.
That would have been really hard for me to do. Like, because I feel like I would have just beat myself up forever because it's like a 3-year-old dog. Are we really? I just kept.
Oh yeah, I couldn't have done it.
I mean, even when she said that she was gone, I just kept saying like she's 3 years old. Like she's.
I know. Even now, I don't believe it. I'm just like, she's gonna be here any second. I know she's not here, but she's not gone. I keep being like, where the fuck is she? Like,
I know.
Is she with my mom? Like it. I keep thinking it's not real. And it's just been absolutely horrible. Not much helps
when we and it just, when things like that happen, you really don't know what to do with yourself.
Oh yeah, we came home at 3 and my friend Sally, who was staying with us, waited up for us, and she cleaned up Red's bloody throw up, which was really nice. And
that was nice.
I just laid in Red's bed and like screamed, cried, and held her toys, and it was.
I mean, you just don't know what to do with yourself, and you're just like, it's this outer body experience where you're like, this thing. I mean, it's so simple. This thing that was once here is just not, and you're just like, I just don't understand why. It makes absolutely no sense. And I think immediately we started going into coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Like we as soon as we left the vet, we went to we went to Del Taco, and we drive up to the drive-thru, and Sid's like, "I'll get a Diet Coke," and then I'm like, "And I'll get
He got like 7 things.
I got like 8 things. I was like, "I'll get chicken fingers, French fries. I'll get a quesadilla. I'll get some." Like I just went off and ate it all because I was like, I just knew I needed to give myself everything.
You wanted
everything I wanted. Like,
yeah,
I knew that it wouldn't make me feel better, but at least would.
Well, it's a distraction. Everything that is a distraction we've been doing. So yeah, the next day I ate, my body weight in everything.
And I must have smoked like 5 joints.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just baked out of my gourd all day.
And then did we go see a movie? We
saw No Hard Feelings that night with Jennifer Lawrence. And, it's this weird balance, I think, grieving of distracting yourself, but letting yourself feel.
Yeah. Because you can't let yourself feel the whole time or you'll fucking blow your head off.
It's just too...
It's too much.
And I think at some point it is like, this isn't helpful. Like,
no.
This is hurting you, and it's time to take a break and come back to it.
Yeah. So I think we did a good job for taking breaks. That first day, we definitely didn't do much, but then we saw the movie and that helped. And then basically every day after that, we've been little gym rats because that has helped.
Yeah. On that Sunday, so she died in the middle of the night on Saturday. Saturday, we kind of did our real eat whatever we want, smoke as much as we want.
I didn't smoke.
No, you didn't smoke. You didn't, and we didn't drink really. And just comfort. How can we find comfort today?
Yeah.
But then Sunday, I just woke up, and the only thing I knew, lately I've been like, I have to do one thing every day. And as the days have gone on, I've been able to add on more, especially this week. But, I knew that you have to get yourself out of the house doing one thing a day, whatever it is. It could be Target run. It could be, for me, it was gym. And
for me, it was gym.
For me, it was gym.
Okay, please don't do that voice. I really hate it. I hate it.
Arnold?
Yeah.
I'm talking about my dying dog, and I can't help but do an Arnold
voice.
Schwarzenegger impression. But for me, it was the gym, and I mean, from that Sunday to now,
he's worked out like a maniac.
I've been working out like a maniac. I mean, that first week, all last week, I was doing like 3 a days.
Yeah, he went kind of nuts. I did like normal exercise amounts.
I mean, it was the only thing that it really did cheer me up. It would, I wouldn't think about Red during the workout, and then I wouldn't think about her for a bit after until, when you start to think about her as coming home.
I keep thinking I have to go home and walk her.
Yeah. Leaving.
Because I'm like, okay, make sure she doesn't get out, even though she hadn't done that in a while.
And waking up and going to sleep, like these kind of tent poles of our day.
And coming home, like at any point.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
It's just always, you just see, I still feel her in those moments. I still see her in those moments. And it's a constant reminder of her absence.
Yeah.
But the working out has been, I'm just really grateful that I have that. Because it's helped me so much.
Yeah, it's helped me too. And like, friends have been great, just like dropping off food.
In the past, when other people have gone through like a traumatic passing or something, and I've reached out and checked in, I've always felt that it was meaningless, that just thinking like, this isn't helping this person. I'm doing this for me to feel okay. It's not for them. And having been on the other side of that, it has really been nice to feel the love.
Yeah. The only thing I find not helpful is when someone goes like, what can I do? It's like, don't ask. Just either ask me how I am and that's enough. You don't have to actually do anything. Or if you want to do something, you can.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Go do it, and I will. It doesn't matter. Even if I don't like it, it's going to feel good.
I know. Even if you bring something I don't like, it's nice.
Bring a coffee. Go grocery shopping. Pick up some frozen food at Trader Joe's. Like, pick up some fresh fruit. Like, or just truly ask us how we're doing. Check in. Are you okay? Call us. Make me laugh for a second.
Don't ask me to hang out.
Yeah,
I don't want to hang out.
Yeah, it's been very hard to hang out. And I find that the reason is because I just can't be a spark right now. Like, I can't bring the energy to a hang or to a conversation, and if that's required of me, I can't do it right now. I honestly would like to be entertained. Like,
I know. I'm like, if you can carry the conversation and not make me say anything, fine. But
even still, like,
I don't really want to.
The worst is, there were a couple times where we were out in public. Like that Sunday, we went grocery shopping, and I'm bursting into tears in the middle of Trader Joe's.
We've cried in Trader Joe's. I cried at Blue Bottle because she loved Blue Bottle.
She loved Enola.
She loved Noah. No, they just always give you treats. She didn't like leaving there. Every time I would try to leave Blue Bottle, she would like not move, and it would be so embarrassing, and I'd have to end up carrying her out every time.
She loved it so much.
Yeah.
And I just, I just didn't want to be in a situation where I like felt weird leaving because I'm so upset. Like, I wanted to be able to be in a place where I can, whatever emotion consumes me at that moment, I don't have to feel bad about.
Yeah.
And I don't have to bring other people down.
Yeah. We had friends stop by, like, was it Sunday or
Sunday? They
stopped by Sunday and they brought us groceries, and we didn't ask, and they didn't overstay. They just like stayed a little bit and then left, and like that was great.
Yeah, that was really nice. But and people sent us like gift cards for eating, and it was just like it really I was so surprised by that. How much that helped.
Well, that really helps.
How much that just made me feel like it was just nice to be like, oh, some people are here to take care of me.
And it's like they know that cooking when you're going through it is fucking impossible, but eating out every night is not an option because, it's expensive. So that is very helpful.
Yeah. And that being said, though, like in the last week, getting back out and trying to see people and
cooking has been really helpful.
Cooking has been helpful.
Cooking's been really helpful.
What I was gonna say is, talking to people about it, though I'm starting to like have fatigue over it. Mm-hmm. It was helpful because so many people have gone through this experience, and I think that's really helpful to just be seen in that way. That someone's like, I know how you're feeling. I've been there. Like that's helpful too.
Yeah, I do think at this point in our lives, pretty much everyone knows how horrible it is, and there's not as much of a stigma about it anymore. Being like, oh, you're that sad over your dog. It's like, no. At this point, everybody knows how much a pet is a part of your family.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know what that was like until now.
Yeah, and especially like for two childless people. I mean, she like really was my baby, and like, I don't know, maybe I felt so connected to her. My go-to grief gift, by the way, if you want to steal this, is you go get a rotisserie chicken and then like some pita or something and like labneh hummus. People really like that.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
You can't go wrong with that.
Honestly, go to Trader Joe's and just buy like $50 worth of frozen stuff. That's also
really
hors d'oeuvres,
good.
like that stuff.
Yeah,
just
cheese,
like comfort food.
Cheese and crackers someone brought us. I mean, terrific. Or like bath soaks that
Soda.
I would never buy myself. That's really nice.
You know, just like all that comfort stuff. You know, think about what you would want in that situation. It's like that's it.
And flowers are depressing because they die. So.
Yeah, or they get filled with gnats.
That's we're ungrateful.
I was gonna say something else. Damn it.
Yeah. I just think this whole, immediately I was like, I'm never having a dog again. This is so horrible.
I know.
And now I'm like, okay, yeah, well, I want a dog again. I'm just a dog person.
I mean, I immediately was like, I don't know, if you were down, I probably would have gotten one the next day, but I'm happy we didn't because I also don't know if for us, I think for some people, maybe that's the best way to handle their grief, but I think for us, that would just be pushing it down.
Be worse.
And it would come out somehow, somewhere. And I also think the thought of having to like take care of a new dog that wasn't Red, I think would make me resentful.
Yeah. I mean, we're resentful of this new apartment now. It's like such a bitch.
We moved to this new apartment, as you guys know, like
for Red.
For her, as
so she could have a yard.
So she could have a backyard, and
she dies immediately.
She dies immediately, and I mean, it just shows when you make plans, God laughs. But it's like, I also am like, what the fuck are we doing here?
I hate it.
We should be in K-Town.
I miss K-Town.
A part of me was like, oh, that's why Red died.
Oh, I was thinking that too.
Because she was like, this place sucks. I'm K-Town till I die. I do think it was totally like,
it was just bad luck.
It was bad luck, but Red like bleeding out, going into cardiac arrest on the operating table was like totally in line with her personality.
Yeah.
Where she was like, nah, fuck you guys. I'm dying right now. Like she was such a stubborn dog.
Yeah. She definitely just didn't want to be a sick dog anymore.
No, she was like,
she hated her life at the end, and it was awful to watch. And I think the reality is you and I would have done absolutely anything to keep her alive, and that also would have been bad. My mom kept our first childhood dog alive like years past when Ruby was ready to go, and it was awful. Like she couldn't walk, she was miserable, and
it's hard. We just grow so attached to these things, and
these things,
these dogs, these fucking things, and they occupy and represent things in your household.
I mean, this is dramatic, but I do not know how to like function without her yet. Like I'm really like, what is my life? Like I don't have my best friend around. I don't like, what am I going home to other than you? Love you, but
I was like a little worried that you were gonna be like, I'm out.
Because our dog's dead?
Just like that's what the life you wanted, and now we didn't have that, so you were like, I'm done.
No, but
I know that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
it does make me be like, we're in this gorgeous apartment, and I just want to be back in K-Town, in our crappy apartment with a hole in the wall.
With Red. That's really tragic and beautiful.
Yeah, that's been like kind of an enormous takeaway, and like obviously you can think that and tell yourself that all you want before something like this happens, but once it happens, it's just like, yeah, I did not need this like fancy apartment that we were so excited about. So that's been a real nice awakening.
Yeah, it's like this weird, the universe gave us this great thing and then took away something we love even more.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is confusing. It's hard to understand. And also just thinking about, there's always a point where you're like, wait, so everybody else gets to keep their shitty dog?
I know. I'm like, your dog sucks. And I had the best dog. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, your dog is not as good as our dog. Our dog was perfect.
Yeah. And she's just gone because of this rare condition.
There have been a lot of people being like, well, she was just too special for this earth. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I think the reality is this is just that like life is unfair and like, you can't stop bad things from happening, and you gotta go with it, like, and it's just not helpful to be like, what was the point of that?
I know, and also we really for a while just kept finding ourselves in these conversations of like, but we could have done this and we could have done that, and
you couldn't have
like,
done anything. It's not helpful.
It's just so unhelpful, and but it's so easy and enticing to talk like that.
Yeah, you're not allowed to drink carbonated beverages on the podcast.
Because I keep burping?
He's burping every second.
It's like our first date.
Yeah.
Something about this time that I'm grateful for is obviously you, because you know exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
And that is so comforting that I don't have to do this alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that the closest thing to Red being here is you being here.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was our baby.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not here, but at least you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice that I can like reminisce with you. I like being with people I can reminisce.
Yeah, like now we're getting to that place of like, remember this thing that, being able to talk, say funny things about it. Like I had this memory over a couple weeks ago, or not a couple weeks ago, a couple days ago, where there were a couple weeks, maybe like a year ago, where Red would dig into the trash and pull out my razor blades and chew on my razor blades.
Oh my God, it was so stressful.
It was so stressful, but she like loved them. She like really wanted them. So it was also like, yeah, but if she wants them, but it's like, I'm not going to let my dog chew on razor blades.
God, it was insane.
That seems like the exact thing you don't let an animal do.
Yeah.
And just all these little things like that we just, and I feel so lucky that I always knew how special she was. And
yeah, I feel very lucky. We always were like, this is the best dog you can have. We said it all the time. Every time I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, when I came back, I'd give her a kiss. Like I just was always like, you are the most special dog. And the day before she died, when the vet told us that she, we had to start talking about quality of life, I held her and I said, I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. And then, the next day she died, and I just feel like, I don't know.
I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, but I try in my life I try to be aware that there are these special moments in life, and you need to note them when they're happening. Otherwise, they're just gonna pass by and not mean anything, or you might forget about them. And I always would say every day when I was with Red, like, I know how special this is, and I would note it. So now I feel grateful because I don't have to live with the fact of not realizing it at the time.
Yeah, we really were two people who were deeply obsessed with our dog, and I think that's kind of the only way to be as an animal owner. I'm like, cherish every second.
Every second. And also, like, there was also a point where I was like, oh, did this happen because I didn't spend enough time with her?
Ridiculous. It happened because we moved.
I saw this thing on TikTok, which was like, dogs are like so grateful for the smallest things. They don't think like that. They're not vindictive. They don't think like, you don't even, like, they're not thinking like that. Like, they're just so happy when you are there. And when you're not there, they're just thinking about when you are there. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. And one thing that's been helping me is when I would walk Red and there'd be like a gust of wind or a breeze, like she would always stop and like lift her head up and like take in the breeze, and like, really like she was modeling. Mm-hmm. And now when I feel a breeze when I'm outside, I like to believe that is Red still with me. Yeah. But it could just be a fucking breeze.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so funny what we just find meaning in, but if you told that to someone else, they'd be like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Sure. Your dog's a breeze.
No, I like that. I think we're not into anything this week, but should we maybe do like our favorite thing about being a dog owner? What we loved most about it? Yeah. I hate not having a dog.
I know. I really love the lifestyle of a dog because I think it's nice to have a reason to go home. Because especially in what we do, I think we're often like feel like we need to always be hustling and always be out and meeting people and doing things. And it was nice to have, I got to get home because Red's there and she deserves my time. She deserves to be with me, and I deserve to be with her. It's like, it's very grounding. I also like that I got to start every day not thinking about myself.
Yeah.
Like that's like really nice. And I just like, honestly, as simple as like having this little like creature living in our apartment that I could just like give kisses to and just like pet. It's just like it's just so fun. It's so fun. Like she just made every day so much more fun.
Yeah, she really did look like a little creature. She was like a Yoda mixed with an alien. Well, I guess Yoda's an alien, but
it's weird looking at pictures of her right now because it all just feels like an in memoriam montage.
I know.
But at the time, those pictures were just like, oh, we're just capturing this moment. But like now it just feels like those pictures were always to be taken
for
her death. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, yeah, because I did take so many pictures of her and I'm so grateful I did. Anytime she did something cute, like
we have a picture of her we could show you guys we were packing to go to New York once, and she was like, while we were packing, she like went into the suitcase and just like curled up and like laid in the suitcase.
Every dog and every cat does that, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. When Red doing it was just so cute, and I just miss her so much, and I loved just being at home with her. Like Noah does stand up a lot of nights, and honestly, my favorite thing to do was be home alone with Red, and I was just so happy to be home with her. It felt like just hanging out. I really was never lonely.
Yeah, that's the other thing you have to get used to, of just like, she was always there for those in between times. Mm-hmm. Like in between seeing you or in between like doing tasks. Like I always went back to Red.
Yeah.
For a pet, just to stare at her. I mean, when you weren't here, I would always like, she'd like lay on the floor and I would just lay across from her and just stare into her eyes for like,
I know, I loved laying on the floor with her. Well, Red, we love you and we miss you.
Yeah, and hopefully this wasn't so depressing.
Yeah, sorry guys.
But we love this podcast, and for us, it didn't feel right to go on without talking about her, because she was on every episode.
Yeah.
Laying in bed with us. I would always yell, Red, podcast. And she would, sometimes I'd have to pick her up, but a lot of times she would just run over and jump up on the bed, and she'd sit right there in the corner of the bed and she'd watch us, and she won't be here. And we really wanted to make sure we honored her. And yeah, that's it for us, guys. We will be back regularly. in the next coming weeks, every week, doing our episodes.
More cheerful.
More cheerful.
Sound off in the comments if you hated this.
Honestly, don't, because I don't care.
I don't care.
You don't have to listen.
You don't have to listen.
But we love you guys.
Love you. Good night, sleepyheads.
Good night. It's the Bedtime Podcast.